All right. Hello, everybody. Tracy Warren here, and we are live with you today for Materialize TV, talking about materializing peace. And we have on our amazing team uncoached team members that I want to recognize and introduce to you, because we're really going to do this kind of roundtable style, kind of breaking it down between mind, body, and spirit, everything in association with peace today. And I don't know about you guys, but I could definitely always, like, can you have too much peace? I don't think that that's anything that you can actually have too much of. That would be like saying too much cream cheese or too much bacon or something. Like, it's not possible. So, anyways, we've got Amber McDaniel and Melissa Kessler, and they are, like I said, members of Team Uncoached, and everybody has a unique role to play based on the roles and the gifts and the strengths that they have. And for our round table discussions in general, we're going to be dividing up myself for mind, brain kind of things, Amber for spirit, heart kind of things, and then Melissa for body kind of things. And so it should be a really fun opportunity. And we're going to be continuing to do this for different topics, because really pretty much everything, if you look at it truly, impacts something else. There's always a value to having a holistic approach to any discussion. And so that's really what we're excited to be able to bring to the table for our chat today. So if you would go ahead and start dropping some highs. Oh, yay. Okay. So all I see from is Facebook user loves the team. Well, we are glad that you love the team. Share with us sometimes the comments that we see utilizing the platform of StreamYard just looks like Facebook user. But anyways, yeah, let us know who is on. Let us know where you're coming from. Let us know, maybe if it's helpful to you, which area you feel like, oh, good. Becca Jo, good morning. What area of life may need additional peace? Or is it, do you feel like you can even separate out peace with mind, body, spirit? Is that possible, you guys? To have peace in your body, but not in your spirit, to have peace in your mind, but not your body? Not, you see what I mean? Is it possible to separate that out?
I don't know. My body receives peace when my spirit is at peace. So I don't know. I guess, like in meditation, if we are relaxing in our mind and we are getting our body into a peaceful state, which allows our spirit to be able to get, because we still might have that like inside as we're meditating. So I guess it could be possible. That's a really good question.
It seems like there may be, at the end of the day, if we wanted to be really technical, it's probably possible. However, I think there's enough of a connection that one is going to quickly follow the other.
Right.
Either for peace or away from peace.
Yeah, I'd like to say, especially like we're saying, with a holistic view on everything, unless we have that peace in all areas, we really aren't fully at peace. Like we may have these, peace in certain areas, but we're not completely at peace. Like everything's connected.
I know for myself, it seems like sometimes my body is the last to feel at peace. Or depending on what I've eaten, it is the first to feel not at peace. And then the longer that my body is not at peace, then it starts to impact my mind, and then it may impact my spirit. And I know for sure that people with maybe chronic illnesses or chronic pain, that could very much be an appropriate sort of, it's starting with their body, but it actually could have started in the mind or in their spirit and then manifested itself into the body.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The phrase is peace path. Like this whole week as I'm doing my worship, peace has actually come up. So before you even mentioned having this call and doing this, I'm like, wow, this is so cool. But in my drawing and in my creativity during my time of worship, I kept getting these like little phrases like playful peace, peace patches. So like we could have patches of peace that create a whole piece of peace, you know, and sometimes it takes us grabbing hold of those little patches to be able to get ourselves to a whole state of peace. And like, you know, just like what we're talking about, it could be anything. It's whatever it is the Lord wants to use in order to get our attention to say, hey, there's some peace over here. Come lean into what I'm giving you now so that we can create this in a whole thing. So I like this.
Yeah, that's good. So I actually was doing something earlier because I was thinking about, through the years, I've taught meditation classes, I've done all this. And usually the first thing that comes up is, what is it that you want? What are you looking to feel? And peace is usually the first thing. And then, so I decided, I was like, you know, I'm going to look up the official definitions. And of course, you may all know that I focus a lot on stress and on the hormones and everything. So I checked both definitions, which is really interesting that peace and stress are like the complete opposite of each other. So peace, the definition was freedom from disturbance, tranquility. And then stress is a state of mental tension and worry caused by problems in your life, work, etc. So I was like, there is such a good connection of like the two being the opposite, because usually everybody's like, I just don't want stress and I want peace, because they really are the complete opposite. So I feel like we stress over so many things, whether it's mind, body, spirit, that are leading to, you know, this is why we need this. We need the peace because we're feeling it everywhere.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's so good.
Isn't it? So, I mean, when I think about ultimate peace, we'll say, being able to take myself to that place in the midst of yuck. So, for example, and I hadn't shared this with you guys yet, because we are as a team, we are really, really, really trying to focus on wins and keeping everything positive. But there are times we give ourselves permission to share things that are interesting. So as soon as I woke up this morning, thankfully, I laid in bed and did a gratitude visualization and meditation even before I went to the bathroom. But once that was done, I came downstairs and I thought, I'll just take the dogs out to pee real quick, and then I'll do the rest of my morning kind of stuff. Well, as soon as I walked into the kitchen, the puppy had pooped all over herself again. And so there was literally all over the place. And the stench, it was terrible. It was the opposite of any peace. And I was like, okay, I had my earbuds in. I was still listening to like gratitude and things. I was cleaning up poop. And I'm thinking, okay, if I can feel peace through this, you know, I was really intentionally trying, and I can't say that I mastered it. I can't say that I wasn't irritated by the end, you know, but I know for sure that I handled myself differently because I was intentionally focusing on, I will have peace. I will have peace, you know, like I know I can do this. But man, it's hard. And yet, I strive to be that person that could maintain peace and accept that peace beyond understanding in the midst of, there are circumstances way worse than a dog pooping in a crate, you know, like it's so minuscule in the scheme of things, right? But don't you see people that are going through like insanely hard times, and you look at them and you're like, whoa, how are they doing it? You know? And then I know we've had the discussion before, even as a team, like, how do people get through without Jesus? I don't know. Like, I can't imagine, because
the Prince of Peace, like the Prince of Peace.
You know, I mean, it's almost like accepting a knockoff brand of toilet paper. You don't want a knockoff brand of toilet paper. Of anything, you don't want a knockoff brand of toilet paper. Get the real deal, you know?
Yeah.
So thank goodness we've got the real deal Prince of Peace.
Your story reminds me of something that came to mind as I was praying about this and leading in, was how a teacher, an art teacher, had his students do a painting of what peace looked like and to them. And so there were, the two students that he pointed out was, one did a picture and painted a picture of this beautiful, peaceful scenery with like flowers, just this beautiful scenery. And then the other student painted, he looked at it and it was like this whole chaotic seas with storms and lightnings. And then way down in the corner on a little rock was a little white dove sitting so peacefully. The feathers were not being blown. He was not being blown away in the wind. And there was like this little light around this little bird. And so it just, when I heard that story, I was like, oh my gosh, like that is what peace is. That is the, when we talk spirit, and the heart of God, is that we can have our mother in hospice and on her deathbed, or we can have a husband who's getting ready to walk out of the home, or we can have kids who's getting hurt or in trouble at school, and all of these little things going on in our lives, yet we can remain in a state of peace. Peace is power. Like there is power in that peaceful place. And so I love that God reminded me of that as I was coming in to this today. And then in scripture this morning, the path, right? The smooth path that God lays out for us. And it says in Hosea chapter 14, verse 10, a portion of that scripture says, "For the paths of the Lord are smooth, and the righteous can walk on them." And when we are in right standing with him, when we are constantly in his presence, when we are constantly turning to him and looking to him, we have access to a smooth path. Mm-hmm. We don't have to walk on all that yuck.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. I was thinking that as we've had lots and lots of conversations with clients over the years, and we talk about an emotional home and where your thoughts go to under stress, mm-hmm. typically the go-to place where their thoughts go, that varies quite a bit. For some people it's frustration, for some people it's anger, for some people it's self-pity. That varies quite a bit. But there are probably the majority of people where they want their new emotional home under stress to be peace.
Yeah.
And so really taking that choice of simply, if there's one thing in the mind category that you're going to do from today, would just be to make a new little peg in the brain that says, under stress, I choose peace.
It's a peace peg.
It is a peace peg. I feel like people need one of those little, like one of those golf peg things that just says peace on it. So that very simple thing, I mean, over the course of time, applied regularly and told to yourself over and over and over and over with intention, just like me in the kitchen this morning, it does make a difference. The other thing is coming back to the present. And you can really gain a lot of peace by just coming back to the present moment and the breath. So I don't know, Melissa, would you want to speak to that a tad?
Yeah. And, I'm glad that you just said that, because one big thing that always comes up is, everybody that is under so much stress. And then you come to realize that we're actually stressing about things that haven't even happened. So I like that you said, come back to the present, because, so many of us are looking ahead, what is going to happen? What is this? What is that? And we don't even know that that's what is actually going to happen, So it's when you realize that you're stressing over these things that are not even happening yet, bring yourself back and really look at, what do you have right now? Where are you at right now? Are you in the middle of this that you can't get out of it? And then to even think about, what can you do to prevent those things from happening? instead of going into the stressful, that stressful mindset of like, what am I going to do if this happens? Like, what can you do to stop that from happening right now?
Mm-hmm.
And then, of course, the breath part. I am all about breathing. Let's just stop and take a breath when we are in the middle of this. And this is one thing I preach to everybody. You can breathe wherever you are.
I hope you do.
You don't have to be in any, yeah, right. But taking deep breaths, you can be anywhere. And one of my biggest stories I always tell everybody is like the middle of Trader Joe's. I don't know why Trader Joe's brings me stress, especially when my children are with me. And it's like, I just want to get in and out of the store. I want to do this fast. And instead, you're running all over. People are bumping into you with their carts. Like, for some reason, Trader Joe's is just like that. I still love it. It's still one of my favorite stores. But you will catch me in the middle of an aisle, and I will just stop. And I'm like, just stop. Inhale, like
Awesome.
4 counts, and hold it for 4, and release it for 4. And what it can do for you is just so amazing. Like, it just brings you back to this place of like, okay, everything's good. It's it. You can keep going,
That's so great.
Yeah.
Very true. Yeah. Any final thoughts on stress? I got ready to say on stress. Let's leave the stress behind. Any final thoughts on peace that we want to share today? I would love for watchers, listeners to drop in the comments, actually, what most brings them peace. And any kind of little tiny actions that you take. Of course, you're welcome to put the church answer. Jesus brings me peace. I honor that. And he does.
Yeah.
Yes. There may be things that help you remember to go back to him in the moment, because sometimes we forget that he's that resource. We forget that he gave us breath to breathe in, to go back to him. Sometimes we forget under stress that we have the ability to make a choice in the brain to choose peace. We just get so out of control under stress. It happens,
I'll just add like a quick little cute story is we pulled cats out from under our house. You've heard me talk about our cats, but the one that we pulled out, we named her Sula, which is Hebrew for peace. And so now that she's grown, she's a mama's girl. She loves to be near me. But we always find that she likes to sit between my husband and I, not like near me or near him, but between the two of us. And so I always get the opportunity whenever she's doing that to look at my husband and say, there's peace between you and me. And so I'm able to like use the cat to be able to speak peace over him and I, whether we need it or we don't or whatever. That's almost like a prayer, that I get an excuse to be able to pray. And so God uses things like cats to create peace in our family or within relationships. And that, talking about business, like business is relational. And so the peace between those relationships, I speak that over everybody's business relationships today. Peace. Peace. Yeah.
Well, to wrap it up, I'm going to basically put what we've talked about into what I'm going to call a nice, tidy package process of ABCD to materialize peace. So first, what we said, we would get still, we would take a breath, we would come into the present moment. That literally could be 1 second, it could be 3 seconds, it could be 5 seconds, 10 seconds, whatever it takes to just get still and centered and take a breath and a pause, a peace pause. There you go. So the step of awaken would be to take a peace pause. And then your B step for believe would be to believe that peace is possible for you, even in that moment. So you're making a choice to be obedient to what the word says, which is to be full of peace, be full of joy, do not be discouraged. And then C, captivate. Love what is. Love the moment where you are. Love the storm around you and that you don't have to be part of that storm if you don't choose to. Love the Prince of Peace and the way that he has designed you with the power to stay in his peace beyond understanding. And then D is to simply either dance through the storm, if you want to call it that, or take some peaceful action that allows you to live out the peace that you have just gained internally. You can now express that in the world around you. So A, B, C, D, steps to materialize peace. And I wanted to also just share, as we kind of get ready to hop off, that there is an opportunity for you, if peace is something that you have been just craving, that you know that the small daily steps is not going to cut it. We have an Awaken retreat in February that we will be holding. And at our past events, we have actually measured the way that people feel when they come on day one, and then a measurement on the day that they leave. And you can even see in charts that when they take the test, they have seen an insane difference in their body, in their mind, in their spirit, in the way that they feel and the peace that they leave with. So it really, truly does impact mind, body, spirit, and the way that you will feel coming into this Awaken retreat, and the way that you feel when you leave, you can't deny. Is a marked difference. So if it's something that you have been craving, and a time away from the daily stressors of life would be beneficial for you, to just have that poured into you, and have the luxury, have the beauty of peace around you for several days, to really soak that in at a very intense, deep level, then we would invite you to just raise your hand, either message one of us or put in the comments that you would like more information, and we will be glad to get that to you, because that is, like I said, that's in February of this next year. So you've got time to get all your ducks in a row, but make sure that you express interest, because it's going to be a very small, intimate group. And so it will sell out. All right.
I'll add to that, breakthrough calls are also available. So if you're like, I really need breakthrough and some peace, comment below. Our team will get you the link to be able to get that scheduled. Peace, power, y'all, to everybody out there.
All right. Thanks a bunch, you guys. Have a wonderful day. We'll see you next week. Bye-bye.